Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up.
Yes.
Of credible service to the department. Supervisor Harmon started the department as accountant clerk in August of 1979. She has served in the department's accounting section her entire career. She was promoted to supervisor in 2006. Supervisor Harmon leads the department's accounting and payroll section. I just want to tell you, on behalf of me and obviously the Board of Police Commissioners, thank you so much for your service. 45 years is an accomplishment in any organization, but especially ours. And I will miss seeing you anytime I have an accounting question on the second floor. So congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your dedication and your service, and you will sorely be missed. Thank you.
Okay, and the invocation is done by Chaplain Johnson, Joseph?
Called worse. And I answered to most of them. Please join me in prayer if you would. Our Father in heaven, we humbly bow before thee at this time, grateful for the many blessings that we enjoy at thy hand, grateful for this great country we live in and this great city of Kansas City. We pray that thou help us, Father, be righteous stewards of all that we've been given and be free with our substance and Look for opportunities to lift and strengthen those around us. We're grateful for those who serve on this Board of Police Commissioners. Pray that thou bless them with clarity of thought and unity of purpose. Inspire them to lead and guide us in the right direction. We pray for Chief Graves and all her chief deputy chiefs. Bless them with inspiration and guidance on our behalf. We're so grateful for their service and grateful for the service of the men and women who serve us so well in the Kansas City Police Department. Watch over and protect them. Send thine angels down to bless them and sustain them and their families. We love thee, Father. We seek thy Spirit and pray that thou wilt help us learn to disagree without being disagreeable and to love one another. And we say these things in the sacred name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we have a board resolution for Donald Edward Elder. And we're going to ask him to come up, and why don't we all go up front too? Read that.
Whereas Ed Elder has faithfully served the Kansas City Police Department as a commissioner of the Kansas City Board of Police Commissioners from June 2024 through December 2024. And whereas Ed Elder received his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with an emphasis in finance from Kansas State University. And whereas Ed Elder is a graduate of the Kansas City Chamber of Commerce Centurions Leadership Program. And whereas Ed Elder is the president of Colliers Kansas City and is responsible for overseeing all brokerage operations of the Kansas City, Missouri, and Lawrence, Kansas offices. And whereas Ed Elder is very active in the sale and leasing of industrial properties, along with providing clients expertise on site selection and development services for new construction in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And whereas Ed Elder has held many leadership positions in the real estate community, including president of the Society of Industrial and Offices Realtors, Kansas Western Missouri Chapter, president of the Metropolitan Kansas City Board of Realtors, and president of the National Association of Industrial Office Parks. And whereas Ed Elder is an active member of the Kansas City community, serving as a board member for National Bank of Kansas City, the University of Kansas Cancer Funding Partners, and United Way of Greater Kansas City. Whereas Ed Elder previously served as a board member for the Police Foundation of Kansas City, the Northeast Kansas Catholic Charities Foundation, Coaches versus Cancer with the American Cancer Society, Kansas City Sports Commission, Notre Dame de Sion High School, and Genesis Charter School. And whereas Ed Elder has been an outstanding member of the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, and has exemplified those qualities which are found in the finest law enforcement leaders throughout the country. And whereas Ed Elder's extraordinary leadership, vast knowledge, wise counsel, and dedicated service will be greatly missed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri hereby expresses its sincere gratitude and genuine appreciation for Ed Elder's leadership, counsel, and tireless service to the Kansas City Police Department and the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and its sorrow at his retirement as a member of the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri in December of 2024. Resolved this 18th day of March 2025.
Leaning over. Oh, there it is. Oh, I could do it. Yeah. Well, I don't even need a mic.
You'll project.
That was as many whereas as I've ever heard about. Well, I'm sorry, first, that the mayor's not here. Please share with him my sentiments and gratitude for being a partner with him for a few months on the board. He has a tough job, and I think he gets out of bed every day and tries to do the right thing. I appreciate that. Stacy, or Chief Graves, I am a huge fan of yours, and we've got this thing heading in the right direction. I feel good about your leadership, very good about your leadership. And I just know that in due time, as you get your fingerprints more and more on the department, the city, all the things, that we're heading the right direction, trajectory. So, and thank you for your friendship too. So, Don, you were kind of the first person I met with once I kind of got the nod. We had coffee, and you were the first person I called back in the summer to say this bad stuff has shown up again in my body. And I appreciate your counsel and your guidance, and just you do the right thing, take care of yourself first. So I really appreciate that. And I look forward to maintaining a relationship with you. And Madeline, you and I go back to the foundation and your great leadership there as the president of the Police Foundation. And you know how I feel about you. You're waiting, and then boom, here comes the question. Tom, I'm going to miss you a lot. I kind of feel like that in the 1985 draft, when I first was diagnosed in April of 23, department opted to let the other team draft Sam Bowie, and you guys got Michael Jordan, so. But I think you're going to be a great leader. I know you are, not saying. So you're very thoughtful. You don't shoot from the hip like I do sometimes. But anyway, thank you for your friendship. David, I've known you the longest of anyone. Our daughters went to high school together, and I appreciate your different perspectives and just thinking things through versus just there's one pathway to solve things. So, but most importantly, I'm going to miss these guys out here and ladies out here, because you are all why I serve public service. And I can't tell you how many times well, it's just been a handful, but I see an officer at a restaurant or wherever, and I grab him, and I have a conversation with him. And I know we do that from time to time. And it's just a simple message. I appreciate what you're doing, and just that little 30, 45-second interaction just means so much to our people. And so I'm honored to be living in the community, and I'm hopeful that in some way, shape, or form, that I can contribute in the future. I'm not out of the woods yet, but I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. So, thank you all. Thank you. Okay. Oh, yeah. I get a picture. Thank you. Madeline, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Yeah. Tom?
Okay, I'm gonna look into that one-on-one basketball match.
Yeah. Make it, take it to 10, I'll give you 9. And you can have the ball to start. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, that was difficult, but I just want to say, Ed, as the board president, sincerely, it has been our honor to have you on our board. We so appreciate you, everything you've done. I was excited day one when we got you, sad when we had to give you up, but we know you're still there and you're still fighting for us, and we appreciate you. And keep that voice. You have our cell phone numbers. We love your support, and you are in our prayers, and we support you any way we can. So thank you.
I have to apologize. I would stay for the meeting, except I have another commitment. So, excuse my bad manners, I'm going to have to scoot.
Well, thank you.
Understood.
Thanks. Okay, our first presentation today is the Mattie Rhodes Violence Prevention Program by John Fierro. Is he here? There he is.
Good morning, Madam Chair Kramer,
Morning.
members of the Board of Police Commissioners, Madeline, good morning. Chief Graves, my name is John Fierro. I'm the President and CEO of Mattie Rhodes Center. Thank you all for the opportunity to present to you our work in the areas of violence prevention. Mattie Florence Rhodes was our namesake, is our namesake, and we are one of Kansas City's oldest institutions at 130 years old. And it was her foresight back in 1890 and leaving behind $500 for the betterment of our community that continues to drive us. This morning you will hear a presentation from Molly Mansky, the Director of Public Safety at Mattie Rhodes, and I just want to acknowledge my teammate Henry Ramirez here. Molly?
Yes, good morning. We're going to start off by showing a video about our violence prevention office that we opened in December of last year, and then we're going to dive in to talk more about our 4 public safety programs that we have. We have 5 minutes, so we will be going quick, so bear with us.
The Mattie Rhodes Center in Kansas City provides all kinds of bilingual services and support to Metro families, but their Violence Prevention and Services Center has some of the greatest impacts.
Now let's move to a new home in the Northeast. Fox 4's Crystal Martinez is here live now with why it picked an area known for high crime.
Yeah, Independence Avenue in the Northeast is home for the people you are about to meet. They want to see a change, a safer community. Their personal stories are what drive them to meet people where the violence is happening. Independence Avenue is the new location for the nonprofit Mattie Rhodes Violence Prevention and Services. From November 2023 to November 2024, there have been 21 homicides within a 2-mile radius from its Northeast office.
We can't expect to solve the problem of gun violence if we're not ready to show up to where it's happening.
Molly Mansky is the manager of public safety for MRC. She says this space will house its street outreach program, Párate por Paz, Stand Up for Peace.
They respond to violence that is happening in real time, whether that might be a shooting, a homicide, a violent situation.
One of the people on the team is Aníbal Huerta. His life changed when he found out he was going to be a dad. He has a history the people he's helping can relate to.
I was already 3 years in drugs, and I got shot up more than 3 times. I've been in jail, off in jail, and like right now, having a year of off drugs and all that is something that I'm proud of, and having this job is something that I'm way more proud of.
Part of the job is helping families, grieving mothers like Jessica Martinez Aguilar, whose son was murdered last year. He was 22 years old.
They offered me support, funeral assistance, and they are the ones that connected me with the grief group, Always in My Heart, and that is the group that is keeping me up and moving right now.
The outreach team has helped half of the families who lost someone to violence in the area within the last year. Support, Aguilar says, is crucial in this neighborhood.
Because in that moment, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, and as Hispanics, we feel that there is no support available for us.
That's why this new location in the Northeast matters. It's offering its services in a place that needs it most, building trust with the community.
And you can find more information about the new location and its services online. Just click the link in this story on our website, fox4kc.com.
Thank you. Yeah, so that is a little bit about our community outreach team. That team was started in April of 2023, and we've been going at it for about a year and a half now, and we have 5 team members in that, and those individuals are with lived experience, so they're from the Northeast area. At one point in their life, they negatively participated in their community, whether that was through gangs, gun violence, drugs. They might have been incarcerated at one point, and they've done the work to change their lives and now use their passion and their love for their community to serve similar youth and families who are in situations that they once lived. And so that is the office at 5110 Independence Avenue, where that team is out of. It's right on the avenue. If you've been to the avenue, you know why it is so important for our team to be visible on the avenue in order to respond to the situations that are happening in that area. One of our other programs in our public safety department is our Combat Northeast Hub. So that is our referral system for individuals that get referred to Maddie Rhodes from the Shoot Review each Wednesday for non-fatal shootings or homicide victims. If they live in the Northeast area, the victim, or if they have a Hispanic surname, they get sent to the Maddie Rhodes Center in order to provide them wraparound services and victim support. Then our newest program in our public safety department is from a Department of Justice grant, where we are going to have 2 behavioral health interventionists in Northeast Middle School and Northeast High School, and they will be working with our Tier 3 students who are showing risky behaviors inside of school and outside of school. And then finally is our Nuevo Amanecer, New Dawn Intensive Substance Abuse Outpatient Treatment Program that is funded by Jackson County Combat. And to go a little bit more into depth on these programs, so first our community outreach team, the individuals with lived experience, they focus on 3 areas. Neighborhood outreach, they are out in the streets every single day that they are working at Maddie Rhodes. They've got a t-shirt for hot weather, they've got a big winter coat and a Carhartt hat for when it's cold. They're responding to violence, they're at gas stations talking to business owners, they're mediating in the streets, they're walking through houseless camps, talking to individuals, building rapport. Each of these individuals has a caseload of 10 individuals from the ages of 14 to 40 who are individuals who might be currently participating in violence, have a risk of violence. Through their personal contacts, they're able to connect with those individuals and provide them with resources. Just last week, we received 3 referrals from CED for youth who have possession charges and need community service. And so those students and youth are getting those community service hours through our outreach team. And then our Northeast Strive-In Hub. So like I said, these are the non-fatal shooting victims and homicide victims that need support services. If they are a Spanish-speaking individual, they're able to use our bilingual staff to navigate through those different areas. When you need to change a police report, advocacy in a court, get connection to a resource that you might need. If you do not speak the language of English in our community, it puts that much more of a barrier to receiving the resources and the services that you need in order to thrive in your community. So through our bilingual staff, we're helping to bridge those gaps. Then our Department of Justice grant, like I said, this will be in Northeast Middle School and Northeast High School. These are the students that might be getting put on long-term suspensions from 80 to 190 days. As you can imagine, if you're a student who's already shown risky behaviors inside of the school, 80 to 190 days outside of the school, I can only imagine what that individual is going to get involved in during that time. So our job is to really make sure that they feel supported, them and their families during that time. And finally, our substance abuse treatment program. This is through Jackson County Combat. We get referrals for SATOP from prosecutors, from probation officers, from juvenile detention centers to support our Spanish-speaking individuals needing treatment. I'm going quick because I know we're almost done. And then just some examples of our work. I feel like KCPD, your job is to respond to the violence that is happening and to enforce the law. You oftentimes don't get the privilege to see the work that is happening from your community organizations behind the scenes. So these are 5 examples of homicide victims' families that to date we are still working with. Some of that is providing them advocacy in the courts. Some are the key eyewitnesses in some of their cases and making sure that they feel supported, getting them relocated with CED and partners like Ad Hoc, providing them with rent and utility assistance, getting them re-enrolled in school if they need to change their location. These are individuals that a year and a half later, Maddie Rhodes is still able to wrap our arms around and provide them with the support that they need, and we would not be able to do that if KCPD did not trust and collaborate with us on information sharing. And finally, our requests. continue to include Maddie Rhodes in the public safety environment when we're making discussions on how we're trying to make Kansas City safer. We are key individuals at play here, like teams in the streets every single day responding to violence, and we want to continue to be a support for the work that you're doing and continue to do what we do best, and that's respond to things and support families in the streets. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing. I know I see John, I see you all the time at the community engagement things, and you're always out there, you're a voice. I know you guys are doing great work. We really appreciate that. Any questions?
Chairwoman, I just want to say thank you. It was you that we ran into each other at the Northland breakfast, I think maybe a year or so ago, and we were just getting caught up, and I was talking about some of our work, and you said, I'd love for you to come and present to the Board of Commissioners, so thank you for your leadership of engaging groups like us. And I would just say, I think the tagline in the video said, together we can do more, and we truly believe that at Maddie Rhodes Center. We have a great partnership with our new Jackson County prosecutor, Melissa Johnson. The mayor, the chief has just been so engaging, and Deputy Chief Ortiz serves on the Maddie Rhodes Center board, and working with everyone to make our city safer is what we're about. And I would just say, Maddie Rhodes, again, is one of Kansas City's oldest institutions, and for us, we take it on as an obligation to respond to those emerging needs, and unfortunately, today violence is one of them. And I know, Madeline, I was just sharing with Molly earlier, you shared with me years ago that your son had come to the Maddie Rhodes Art Center, so we certainly appreciate that, and thank you again.
If I could just say one thing, I just want to thank you so much for your partnership and being a true organization in our community in Kansas City, really out there on the street, boots on the ground, helping each other, in that citywide approach to violent crime. So thank you so much for being such a great partner to KCPD, and I think we work fantastic together, and that will continue. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the mayor couldn't be here today because he's in a city council meeting right now on the city budget. But we do have with us Lacey Klein, who's his Director of Public Safety. Welcome.
Good morning, thank you. So just a few updates from the mayor's office. On March 6th, we actually revived the Chronic Nuisance Board. Mayor Lucas sponsored a bill, an ordinance that revives this Chronic Nuisance Board. And this board is basically going to give our city another crucial tool for crime prevention and intervention. The board is responsible for assessing certain properties as chronic nuisances based on different factors like illegal activity and repeated calls for services. The board will work closely with property owners to address recurring illegal conduct, and if these efforts prove unsuccessful and the nuisance continues to negatively impact our community, then the board has the authority to issue a variety of orders, from requiring increased security to, as a last resort, closing the property. In reviving this board, it's a key step to ultimately improving public safety and fostering safer neighborhoods where families and businesses can thrive. In addition, since January, the mayor's office has been working with the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. We are working on developing a collaborative partnership model between CIDs, the city, the KCPD, and mental health resources to improve public safety and entertainment and commercial venues. The Harvard team has been analyzing environmental and population-based factors that contribute to high rates of commercial property crimes and violence at nuisance businesses such as illegal nightclubs and hookah bars. They will be providing recommendations next month on how we can strategically reduce commercial property crimes in Kansas City and violence at these nuisance businesses through both environmental and population-based interventions. Additionally, they've been out meeting with members of KCPD. They met with Prosecutor Johnson, Prosecutor Miller. They've been meeting with various leaders of our CIDs so that they can get a sense of what the collaborative framework already is, but also figure out ways that we can improve upon this in doing what cities who are also experiencing similar commercial property crimes and violence at nuisance businesses are doing. And so we're really excited to be able to partner with them, and we look forward to receiving their recommendations next month.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Okay, we have Clay County Prosecutor Zach Thompson. Good morning.
For those who haven't met me yet, my name is Zach Thompson. I'm the Clay County Prosecutor. The reason I wanted to come talk to you today is just to introduce myself. I know that Clay County isn't always represented or present at these meetings, but it's important, I think, for our office to be represented at these types of meetings. I became the prosecutor, a little bit about myself. I became the prosecutor in 2022 when my predecessor became a judge. Before that, I was an assistant prosecutor for about 13 years, and I went to law school at UMKC. I want to begin by saying that we have an excellent working relationship with the Kansas City Police Department. One of the strong aspects of our relationship is communication. When I first became the prosecutor, Chief Graves and I had robust conversations. That still continues. Deputy Chief Niemeyer makes a point to stop by our office in Clay County just to check in and make sure that our relationship is still on track. I know that I visited Major Cobalt at the Shoal Creek Police Department at the quarterly crime meeting. He was kind enough to invite me and allow me to give a presentation about common scams and how to protect against them. So I believe the communication on my end is working really well, and I know that's true with all my assistant prosecutors too. Police officers with the department know that they can contact not only our on-call prosecutor, but our deputy chief 24 hours a day, right? And we make a point to going out to the scenes when needed to assist with search warrants and 24-hour holds and things that are time sensitive. One of the key aspects of our working relationship that's benefited our office is that we utilize the expertise that's in-house at the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department when it came to processing some scenes that were very complicated. And the local agencies didn't have the resources. However, KCPD was kind and gracious enough to lend us those resources, so we were able to successfully investigate the case. I've also noticed that the lab has been very responsive to my requests. I know they're extremely busy, right? They really are. But when we have an issue where time is of the essence, they've been extremely responsive, and I really appreciate that. So the long and short of it, right, is that we enjoy a professional relationship. I anticipate that relationship to continue, and I just wanted to introduce myself and answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't know if I have a question or not, but one, thank you for being here, and I hope it's not the last time we see you. It's great to hear about the collaboration and the support. Is there anything you need from us, would be my question.
No, I think we're getting it, right? I think we are, right? Because anytime an issue arises between our office and the police department, we talk about it, right? So we're able to address those issues before they become problems, right? So, and I think that's the hallmark of our professional collaborative working relationship, is that we're able to, even if we don't agree, we find the best path forward to keep our community safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your work and using our crime lab. That's what it's there for, and we're glad you're able to utilize it, and it helps. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Okay, Johnson County Prosecutor Melissa Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chief. It's good to see my colleague, Zach Thompson. It's great to see him here. And also want to thank the Office of General Counsel at KCPD for convening periodic meetings with all of our prosecutors that service KCPD. So we are definitely solidifying our working relationship in a plethora of different ways. I do have a couple of updates for you all this morning. Our Crime Strategies Unit, the new unit that I spoke to you all about last month, is fully underway. And we launched last Monday. Within 72 hours after launching, we were able to charge a Kansas City woman with 2 counts of first-degree burglary for victimizing the same store on 2 different occasions. Again, this unit is primarily focused on repeat and prolific property crimes offenders, as well as violent offenders through our Save KC initiative. I also want to thank KCPD for the strong investigative work that led to an arrest of a Kansas City man accused of a burglary spree from February 26th through March 1st. While in custody, our office is South Patrol Liaison Jonah Hall, who works with the South Patrol Division, was able to charge the man with 1 count of first-degree property damage within the 24-hour time period while he was in custody. Thereafter, after a thorough review of all available evidence, our office charged him with an additional 10 felonies in addition to the first-degree property damage charge that he was already facing. Those charges include 6 counts of second-degree burglary, 2 counts of felon in possession of a firearm, possession of an unlawful machine gun, first-degree tampering with a motor vehicle, and that encompasses the full scope of his charges. I do just want to message to the community very briefly, if I may, that sometimes these things do take time. And so just continue to call the police, continue to make the reports. And if somebody is not charged within those 24 hours, give us a second, because we are working collaboratively with each other, making sure that we are checking all of our boxes so that we can file charges supported by all of the evidence, as was done in this particular case. I also want to notify the department of a guilty verdict that we recently received regarding a Save KC client. This individual was charged with an unlawful possession of a firearm, dangerous felon, property damage, and interference with the legal process for a September 25th, 2024 incident. This individual was on our Save KC list. He was invited to call-ins, he was offered services, and he did not take advantage of them. Well, on February 26, 2025, a jury returned a guilty verdict on all 3 counts, and the jury also found that Brown was a persistent offender, enhancing his sentence from the Class B felony range to the Class A felony range. So to all of our Save KC focuses, if you don't come to the call-ins, if you don't stop the criminal behavior, and if you do not take advantage of services, this could be your result waiting on the other side as well. And so with that, I'm definitely open to any questions before I get out of your way.
Well, I just want to say thank you, and we do appreciate that. And I think part of slowing crime down and stopping it is holding people accountable, and we appreciate you and what you're doing. So thank you. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but 2 comments. One, well, 3 comments. First, thank you for being here. Your updates are very much appreciated. And to your comment about, and to the community about it takes a second for some of these cases, you're not illustrating that. You've hit the ground running, and that is very appreciated with your energy and your leadership. And then my final comment is just an observation. A close friend of mine was able to serve on a jury in Jackson County a couple of weeks ago, and it was a criminal matter. And the reason he called me is because he met with your team afterwards to tell them how professional and helpful they were in prosecuting the case and how impressed he was with their services. And I thought you should hear that feedback.
Thank you very much for relaying that. We definitely advise all of our attorneys to speak with the jury and the judges after trial. And so I'll be sure that that message gets back to our office. Thank you very much for sharing that.
If I could just add just a little bit. I just want to acknowledge the difference that one person can make.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. That means a lot.
In this position. Just coming in, your tone, your drive, your work ethic, your professionalism, your collaboration, you knowing exactly what's going on and what's needed and making those things happen. I truly believe that that has been heard throughout our city, and I do believe that people will think twice when they harm others in our community because of your leadership, your position, your tone, and how you've taken on this position and gotten so much done in such a short amount of time. So I value that relationship so much, and I just want to say thank you for being that person in your position.
Thank you very, very much, Chief. Obviously couldn't do it without you, so I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, general discussion. Chief Graves.
Good morning. As you are aware, I'm just going to get started. I know we're already kind of got a lot of great things happening this morning, so I'll be brief. As you're aware, on February 28th, the Kansas City Police Foundation held their annual Call for Backup event in support of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. It was a wonderful, sold-out event, as it is every year, with the most influential people in Kansas City in attendance. And I said it that night, but I don't know where we would be without the Kansas City Police Foundation. They have funded countless projects for our department and have afforded us opportunities to be the innovative team that we need to be to make Kansas City safer. I wanted to take the opportunity to report to the board. Obviously, my gratitude for the Kansas City Police Foundation as they invest in our department, and that investment is also in helping the people of our city be safer. This past month, our department brought in an outside trainer. He previously taught at the FBI National Academy regarding artificial intelligence and law enforcement, what leaders need to know. The training was mandatory for all KCPD commanders to ensure we are planning for not only the present, but also the future of AI, its uses, and how it affects our profession. The training was well received and was requested for investigators. I'll continue to ensure our department embraces technology and innovative approaches to policing in the most efficient way to best serve Kansas City. This year, we'll be bringing more innovation to Kansas City with Peregrine and piloting a Drones as First Responders program. On Friday this week, I will be attending the KC United for Public Safety event hosted by Mayor Pro Tem Park Shaw and Mr. Willie Barney of the Empowerment Network. The event will feature leaders who are reporting on actionable ways they are addressing crime, community engagement, health, education, safety, and the well-being in our city. Mayor Pro Tem has been a great advocate and a champion for holistically safer city, bringing people together. And, when I first came into this position and I spoke out that citywide approach to violent crime, we were already in lockstep, even Melissa in her position, and just going forward and really having that momentum and keeping it going, keeping the conversation, but not just a conversation. This Friday will be, what are you doing? What are we doing? And reporting out on ways, specifically the police department. I can just speak for myself, but there'll be other leaders speaking about what's going on in Kansas City and how others can take action in their own space. Sorry, that was fast.
Any questions? No? Okay, thank you, Chief. And we have Deputy Chief Niemeyer on the Investigations Bureau.
Good morning. My items are going to be under tab B, but first I would like to introduce Captain William Hewitt and his staff to give the board an update on our domestic violence unit. Captain Hewitt has done an amazing job of being proactive and looking to new ideas of assisting victims of domestic violence, as well as we're looking at a new initiative to stop the repeat offenders of domestic violence. So, Captain Hewitt.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is William Hewitt. I'm the captain of our Special Victims Unit. This morning I have Domestic Violence Sergeant Scott Mullen, Domestic Violence Sergeant Ethan Skinner, and our SVU analyst Barbara Kidd joining me. Really just want to take opportunity talk to you this morning in our short period of time that we have. So our Special Victims Unit is home to our juvenile section, our sex crime section, and our domestic violence section. I will say that every day there's amazing work being done up there by all the members, and I'm very fortunate to work there. Today, though, I just want to take some time to talk about our domestic violence section. So our domestic violence section, we've got 2 sergeants. We currently have 7 detectives, and then we have 1 Rose Brooks victim advocate who spends part of her week in our office working hand in hand with our detectives. So what I'm going to do today is just give you a little overview of our domestic violence section, share with you a little statistical data, and talk to you about what we're currently doing. Talk to you a little bit about an initiative that we found that's working well in other cities, and then kind of talk to you about where we're going from here. So our domestic violence unit our detectives investigate all domestic violence-related assaults, robberies, kidnappings, burglaries, property damages, violations of orders of protections, stalkings, and intimidation. The only DV-related crimes that we don't investigate are homicides or DV-related sex crimes. On top of that, our detectives also investigate non-DV-related crimes of violations of orders of protection, intimidations, stalkings, and elder abuse. So it's a lot. It's a lot for 7 detectives. A little statistical data. So according to our LAP reports, that's our lethality assessment program, data from last year, we had about 6,671 domestic violence reports last year. That's a lot. That was an increase of about 6.5% from 2023. Of those DV reports, about 59% were intimate partner domestic violence. To us, the intimate partner domestic violence is a big number that we want to focus on. Intimate partner typically tends to be a lot of our homicides, our serious injuries, our repeat domestic violence incidents occur in intimate partner domestic violence. So that's a number we really want to focus on. Year to date, talk a little bit about homicides. Year to date, 32% of our homicides this year have had domestic violence as a predominant factor. Compared to last year, that was 8%, the year before, 12%. 3 months into a year, it's very concerning for us, and I wish I had an answer for why, because that's the obvious why. I wish I had an answer, and I don't. I don't have an answer, but I will tell you, I will share a little bit about what we're trying to do to combat domestic violence right now in our city. So last fall, we started to work and look at how we could apply our crime plan to domestic violence, really using a data-driven approach and applying the problem analysis triangle. And if you're not familiar with the problem analysis triangle, it's just really trying to, if domestic violence is our problem, if we only focus on our victim and we don't focus enough on the offender, and we were able to remove our victim from a situation, more than likely our offender is just going to find a new victim and the problem will continue to go on. So what we wanted to look at is a way that we could approach both the offender and the victim and pay attention to both of them and try to remove them both from the situation and break that cycle of domestic violence. So about that same time in fall of last year, we got our full-time SVU analyst. So we compiled our first domestic violence focus group of 4 individuals. And really our plan was try to look at those 4 individuals, and we used data from January of 2024 to September of 2024, just solely looking at domestic violence related incidents that these individuals have been involved in. And these were kind of our top 4. So our plan was to focus on those top 4 and focus on both the offender and the victim, trying to use our partners and advocacy partners to get the victims out of the situation, and then at the same time, use anything we could do, any lever we could pull on the offenders to try to also get them removed. So while we were working on that in December of last year, using one of our domestic violence 2 domestic violence grants that we have, we reestablished our DV support teams. They used to be called DV arrest teams, but we changed the name to DV support teams because they are assisting us with making arrests on those that have warrants or those that have pickup orders, but they're also helping detectives on following up on tasks, whether it's trying to locate witnesses, locate victims, in regards to intimate partner domestic violence cases. Currently, it's a volunteer program that currently we have about 45 officers and sergeants from all 6 of our division stations that have shown interest and have signed up to be part of that. And it's been a huge help to us. So I know I'm going on. I'm sorry, I'll speed it up. So at the end of the year, though, we really started to identify some problems with our current plan. We're only capturing a very small group of offenders. It's very time intensive. January of this year, I would say we had our first win on one of those 4 where we were able to affect both the offender and the victim. but it's not sustainable. In our eyes, it's not really sustainable. So we started to look to see what are other cities doing? What are other cities doing to try to have success with their domestic violence? And we came across one initiative that's been implemented in a number of other cities. And it's called an offender-focused domestic violence initiative. It was first implemented in High Point, North Carolina. It was proposed by David Kennedy, who's a professor at John Jay College in New York. He's also kind of the founder of Focused Deterrence. He wrote an article back in 2004 where he proposed applying the Focused Deterrence model to domestic violence. So High Point started this back in 2010. They were followed closely thereafter by Lexington, North Carolina, that modeled it in 2014. Hollywood, Florida, initiated it in 2015. Chula Vista, California, which is a suburb of San Diego, has initiated it in 2017. And then most recently, the Dallas Police Department initiated it as part of their crime plan in 2022. All of these cities that have initiated it that I've talked about, they've all seen a drastic decrease in DV-related homicides, DV-related calls for service, and then DV-related recidivism. So really, what is offender-focused domestic violence? It's a model, it's a strategy that's based off the Focused Deterrence model. And what it does is it categorizes all of your domestic violence offenders into either an A through D level categorization. Each one of those levels comes with specific deterrent messaging. It comes with specific consequences along the way. And what I really like about it is the fact that it focuses on both the offender and the victim. It's a parallel. It's a parallel, and unlike what we're doing now, what we're currently doing, we're focusing on those most at-risk offenders and victims. And really what this does is it has a component to it that allows us to look at those that maybe this is their first offense, or maybe they haven't even offended yet, but it's the first time that police have gotten called to the house. And so there's an opportunity for us to present messaging and resources there to try to prevent future domestic violence. And really, the initiative just involves strong partnerships. Just like our Save KC partnerships, it involves strong partnerships in order for it to work. So that's one initiative we found. So where do we go from here? So we're going to continue to work, implement our crime plan, work with our analysts to really focus on our current offender list that we have, which we've increased to 16 offenders. We've shared that offender list with our prosecutors at the city and the county so that we're all aware of those offenders that are on there, so that when we get a new case, they've all been flagged. When we get a new case or they're involved in a new incident, we're aware of it, and so we're trying to closely monitor them. Obviously, with that goal of breaking that cycle of violence. And so long term, we're going to continue to explore the offender-focused domestic violence initiative, any other successful initiatives that have been implemented in other cities. We've recently talked to Denver Police Department about what's working in their city. So we're going to continue to explore that. And then the other thing is really making some changes for us to better track intimate partner domestic violence. We want to be able to track it from the moment somebody calls 911 and the call taker receives that call to the time an officer clears from the call. We want to be able to track that intimate partner in real time. Currently, we're not. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Any
Sorry,
questions? I have a question. Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Captain Hewitt. This has to be tough work. I believe you stated a 6.5 increase from 2023 to 2024. And then this year, we've seen 32.5%?
So in homicides this year, last year it was 8%. We're talking about homicides.
Okay.
So last year was an 8%. This month, or this year, 3 months in, 32%.
Thank you. So a couple of questions. One about participation. So you have the offenders, and I believe you have 16 now in your focus group. The Focused Domestic Violence Initiative, to me, the crux of that is getting these offenders to be engaged. what's your participation rate? How are you compelling individuals offenders who, there's been one call? Maybe they're categorized as A, right? Because you've got the A through D, I think, categorization. So maybe they're categorized as that first call. How do you get them to make that commitment to be involved and to stay engaged?
So with that initiative, so we're not currently doing that initiative, but with that initiative, there's no guarantee that they will. But the message comes from the department of what the initiative is, and then there is dedicated monitoring to those involved. So I use the example, what I really like is that D-level offender. So if my wife and I are involved in a heated argument tonight, and my son calls the police, and officers come out, they realize there's an intimate partner relationship between us, there's no offense that's happened, we have no history of domestic violence, we at least have the opportunity, there's the opportunity there to now provide me with some services and information, provide my wife with information to hopefully prevent future. And also that message that now, if I'm determined to be the one that initiated the argument, or I'm the primary aggressor, thank you, then I am now notified that I'm on that D-level list, and that any future interactions or any future incidents, there's a potential that I could move up on that list. And so it's that idea that it's really stripping away the anonymity. Domestic violence touches all facets of our community. It's not solely in one area or one demographic. It's everywhere. And it's really, and a lot of times, it's that kind of quiet thing that's kind of hidden. Victims don't want to talk about it. They're afraid to talk about it. And really what this does is it strips away that anonymity to the offender.
I just thought it was, sorry. I just thought it was really important that we get to the domestic violence presentation, because this hasn't been implemented yet. We didn't know that the team you see over there was already working on this and has been working on this. The unfortunate side is we've had 8 domestic violence homicides, but as we talked about, 7 of those we had never had any contact with, ever.
And that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so out of the 8 homicides we've had, 7 of them didn't have any previous interactions with the police department or reports. But what I think is important, and I appreciate the presentations that team gave, is they were already thinking ahead. Unfortunately, we've had these homicides that began this year, which is terrible. And hopefully with where we go forwards and their progressive thinking, as you can see, this all blends into the Chief's Crime Plan, it blends into our focused deterrence that Patrol and Investigations works on. It's just hoping that we can break that cycle of violence, and they were already on top of this. We've just unfortunately had some bad cases here in the first couple of months of the year. So, I thank them for thinking ahead, getting ready to do this. We just wanted the board to hear that since we've had this run of domestic violence homicides.
Quick follow-up comment, and you spoke of Rosebrook. And I know that's a very safe space in those communities in which victims they've got anonymity, they're in a very safe location. But from a proactive stance of, you have a victim who, quite honestly, has not yet had an interaction with us. They've not called 911, but they've gone to a facility like Rosebrook, and they have some knowledge of who a potential offender or offender is. Talk to us a little bit about your interaction with agencies like Rosebrook and how you can get ahead of things before a 911 call.
So having our advocate in our office is extremely valuable for us. She's shared information with us that she's gotten that exact way. Information that somebody has reached out to Rosebrook for assistance, wasn't necessarily a domestic violence report taken or an offense that had occurred, but then she shared that with us. So that information sharing between us and our partners, having them there is ideal. And then we regularly have meetings with our advocacy groups just to keep those open lines of communication. And then we also lean on our community engagement division quite a bit. Our social workers, they've helped out a lot as well.
Thank you, excellent work. I look forward to the new initiative that you all are going to take up and how you find if the results we're getting from that. So thank you.
And thank you. I did have one question on the 32% of homicides now. I mean, that's drastic as far as it's going up. And I know there's no, you can't discriminate. It's all walks of life. Is there any triggers that you're seeing that are similar? I mean, financial, just any similar, anything similar?
And I think I can answer, because the homicide unit actually investigates all the homicides, and the domestic violence unit does not. Of those, unfortunately, a lot of our, quote, domestic violence homicides have been children. Children and parents. Which is terrible. So a lot of those numbers have been driven by that. Obviously, over the course of the year, you would like to have zero, but the numbers are alarming at this point in the year. So I don't think we could pinpoint one thing. If you talk to the homicide unit, like I said, they work with the domestic violence unit. We've only had 1 out of the 8 that had a previous interaction with our department. So there was no intervention from us at that moment in time, so there was no information that we would have acted on prior to.
Right, right. Well, and I know there's great organizations out there that we work with, like you said, and we appreciate them. Working on this diligently. Thank you so much.
What's the timing for rolling this out?
We are exploring it. We're exploring it and any other initiatives that might be working. So this is just something we've found that is working, and there's still a lot of exploring we need to do before to even know if this would be something that would work here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item is the blue sheet. In 2025, we currently are at 25 homicides. Of those 25 homicides, we have cleared 96% of them for our clearance rate, and I'll be discussing that a little bit later in this presentation. But as you can see from the numbers, previous years we've had 25, 35, 31, and 34. So again, I'll discuss that 96% here in just a little bit. Breakdown for February homicides by division. We had 1 in Central Patrol, 3 in Metro, 4 in East, 3 in North Patrol, 0 in South, 0 in Shoal Creek. And for the month of March, we currently have 2 homicides. Non-fatal shooting comparison report. This is from January the 1st to March the 16th. We have had 53 non-fatal shootings. In 2024, at this exact same time, we had 135. We are down 61% in non-fatal shootings for the year. In February, we had 17 non-fatal shooting victims compared to 62 that we had last year, for a 73% decrease in the month of February. And now to talk about why I believe and others believe part of the reason that we are seeing the numbers that we're seeing is our violent crimes analyst project. I have Captain Ron Legg and Sergeant Joe Marino will provide a presentation on the crime analyst. They were tasked with getting this program up and running, which included updating job descriptions, interviews for job placement, and many other tasks. I will let them explain the process and the work that is being done since the beginning of the project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Chief.
Morning.
Appreciate the time to explain the grant analyst project. So when I was assigned to Law Enforcement Resource Center at the end of 2023, we had 4 violent crime analysts. They served 4 homicide squads, 2 robbery squads, 2 assault squads, domestic violence section to include the juvenile section, sex crimes, and the DV units, and missing persons and cold case. In the early time in violent crimes, we had many discussions within the division on how we can best support the chief's crime plan. It became very clear that what we can do in violent crimes is solve crime. That's our contribution to the crime plan. We have a sole purpose, solve crimes. When it came down to me and my goal, how could I help support those investigations? It came down to analysts. We had 4 serving all these different groups, more analysts. With the full support of the Police Foundation and their unwavering generosity, the Grant Analyst Project was born. The foundation agreed to pay for 4 new analysts, the equipment, and the training to get them up and running. So on the timeline on that, in good faith, once we had discussions about the grant program, I took 2 analysts and I embedded, of my current analysts, embedded them directly into the homicide squads. I took Logan and put him directly into Sergeant Slater's squad at the time, and Darren Lee put him directly into Sergeant Toigo's squad at the time. That physically moved them out of their isolated offices, put them in the squad room with those detectives. I put them on the same rotation as those homicide squads. If they had a homicide call out at 2 in the morning, those analysts responded to that homicide scene. That allowed them to work from the very beginning, shoulder to shoulder with the detectives, from the start of that case through the conclusion of that case. Moving on, with the assistance of the financial unit and Office of General Counsel, we were able to get this grant signed, and the ordinance passed at the City Council on June 17th of 24. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the violent crimes allowed me to bring Sergeant Marino on board. He was instrumental in the beginning of this to get the program up and running, keep me in line, keep me focused. He conducted all the hiring processes, all the interviews and everything, and in less than 3 months from it being signed, we were able to hire our first 3 analysts under this grant. So the 4 analysts that are assigned directly into homicide and have been for some time now, I'd like to introduce, it's Logan Konopasek, he's assigned to the 990 squad. Allison Gatzmeyer, she's assigned to the 1010 squad. Stephanie Fagan, 1020, and Darren Lee, 1030. Will you guys please stand up? They're here. These guys are amazing. They do great work, and we really, really, really appreciate their work. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
So what does all this mean? I want to be clear with this slide, by no means am I solely giving credit to the analysts for the improved solve rate. I do think they play a very important part. This trend has taken a team effort. They're just part of the team, the investigators. They start every case from the very beginning of the case to the very end of the case. They're very good at what they do. They feed investigators the information, let the detectives go detect. They give them the information, give them a wedge of a 360-degree plane, where to focus their energy. I think it's been working out great. I do believe they're a big part of this upward trend. The foundation put out some numbers when we started this grant project and started talking about it in March of 2024 when I assigned the 2 analysts to homicide. Our solve rate was at 46%. The next year, at the end of 2024, it was 76%, excuse me. And like the deputy chief had mentioned this morning, we're at an unbelievable 96% solve rate as of today, as of this morning. Now that number will be transitionary. It'll change throughout the year. We're early in the year. But the positive effects of this trend have been undeniable, and it's a team effort, and I think the analysts are making a big difference. I appreciate the time to explain that. I'm open for any questions or ideas on how to expand on this program.
Any questions?
Well, how do you expand on the program? I mean, these are great results. And we talked about this last year. The funds to be able to add the analysts are now showing the results. 96% is huge, remarkable. The one thing you said, I think you used the word 3 times, and it really resonates, and that's focus. We have a crime plan, we know what the strategy is, and now everybody is focused on solving crimes, and that's the initiative within the strategy. And having that focus and everybody doing their jobs makes a significant impact, and the numbers speak for themselves, so thank you for that.
And the teamwork of embedding them in the squads, they're part of the team. They get called out, they start to finish. We rotate a car, so they get called in at 2 in the morning. They work side by side with them every single day. As far as expanding the program, more analysts, maybe we can always use some in violent crimes, but like I know property crimes are gateway crimes into more serious crimes. Property crimes could use their own analyst, you know.
That'll be our next ask. I mean, the
Property
chief,
crimes.
the chief doesn't know this yet, but then my next ask is gonna be, you know, Major Kobanaw standing over there, it's the number one thing on the board right now in the Investigations Bureau office is to get crime analysts for our property, embedded crime analysts with our property crimes detectives. So, you know, everything revolves around a budget, everything revolves around personnel, so that'll, as we expand this, I think they've done a good job. I think we needed to show and prove that this does help and is part of the process.
And is this working with Peregrine now, or is that yet to come?
It's coming on board. Some of my analysts are the initial users of it. They're helping set it up. They met with Peregrine now. They're inputting data, they're exploring it, and they're
about what Peregrine's going to do
like
for
the
us.
chief had mentioned with AI, that's a field that I think will show huge benefits for us. We haven't started dabbling in that. I've been talking to IT a little bit about possibilities for that for the analysts, especially in the analytics side of it. If we don't get in front of it, we're going to be far behind on it. So it's a really, really important piece to our
And that's just goes in line with what I said earlier, and we're kicking off Peregrine next month in early April. And I just want to acknowledge that because of the Kansas City Police Foundation, we are bringing, and our partners also like Mayor Pro Tem at City Hall, we were able to bring Peregrine and turn the on switch on due to the support we get from the KC Police Foundation, who also supported the 4 analysts, who also supported our social services at each one of our patrol division stations. Like, I could go on and on about the support that they provided this police department.
That was my next question, because that's where I thought the funding was coming from, and that makes a big difference, because I couldn't imagine, just what it would be like without that and without the public support and, their help to be able to solve these crimes and allow this generosity. So we thank the Police Foundation.
Quick question, just a quick follow-up. The 4 phenomenal individuals who stood up, were they in the department or were they external hires? That particular skill set that they're exemplifying to do that
No, we worked with
analytical work.
FIS on the grant, and the foundation was very gracious in that. They funded 4 analysts, but they allowed us to put our most senior analysts in the homicide squads for our most serious crimes and backfill their positions with the grant hires. So this grant has allowed us, like I said, we have 4 embedded in homicide. I have 1 permanently embedded in robbery, 1 embedded in assault squad. For the first time ever, 1 embedded in SVU, as Captain Hewitt had mentioned. And with our 4th hire, which we hope will be pretty soon, we'll embed them in missing persons and cold case, which I'm really excited to see what they can do once they get down there.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So just to finish, and some of this has already been said, but I want to make sure I say it, because if I don't, then I will hear about it tomorrow, later, the next day, or next week. But I want to thank the Police Foundation for their contributions, as it's already been said. You can see by the last few years, our clearance rates. We believe this has an amazing addition to our violent crimes unit. We've been talking the entire past year about clearance rates and the importance of holding individuals accountable. This is the part that we can control in investigations, and I'm extremely proud of everyone in the Bureau for working as a team to make this happen. And again, that's that 96% clearance rate. It will fluctuate, but right now, it's impressive, very impressive. I also want to thank our analysts in robbery, crime gun. We have all of our station analysts and many others who have helped make this happen. I just spoke to the Police Foundation this past week about the department's progress, and also at last week's shoot review, which I believe Commissioner Whitaker heard, And I told that group, it's a complete team effort. It's not just these crime analysts are making this go up, or it's not just the detectives. It's a complete team effort. We have such a good working relationship and investigations with our patrol officers and patrol helping our people. So I really want to thank everybody for participating, because it is a Kansas City, Missouri Police Department clearance rate. With that, I'll just take questions.
Any questions? Well, I did have a quick question too, and I know we're getting the clearance rate and these things done, and I know part of our problem that we've been talking about forever has been a jail. Where, I mean, are we able to hold these people more accountable now? I know how's that working for you
So
guys?
most of the folks that I'm talking about in Investigations Bureau are state charges, so they're going to the Jackson County Detention Center, and as everyone knows, that detention center is being built currently with more beds, I believe. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but the reality is the folks that you hear about here are homicides, the robberies, the property crimes. Those are being prosecuted statewide. We obviously don't have the city jail funded yet, so that's what's currently going on. So most of our folks that I tell you about are absolutely being charged and placed in custody.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, Patrol Bureau, Deputy Chief Maben.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll begin my report by highlighting some notable events from the reporting period. Then I'll present the median response times, and then I will conclude with the Traffic Division report. Notable events. Throughout February, Shoal Creek officers focused on a problem residence in the 2400 block of Northeast 43rd Street, which had become a nexus for property crimes, drug activity, and nuisance complaints. Officers made several drug and property crimes arrests during the month as part of ongoing enforcement efforts. On March 3rd, the residence was officially posted for code violations and boarded up. Shoal Creek, CED, and Neighborhood Services continue to pursue a long-term solution for the property. However, neighbors have already expressed appreciation for their efforts. KCFD conducted an annual inspection of the Cloverleaf Apartments, which is in South Patrol Division's area of responsibility. They cited several fire code violations and determined the complex was unfit for habitation. HUD, KCFD, South Patrol, CED, and other partners assisted in relocating approximately 100 tenants and securing the property. This location has historically been a focal point for shootings, narcotics activity, and property crimes. The community interaction officers attended 24 community member meetings during the reporting period. In total, they completed 13 crime prevention through environmental design, or CPTED, surveys across the city. They have also been working with the Kansas City Public Library's Public Safety Director, who has requested CPTED surveys at all KC library locations. The CIOs have already conducted a survey at the Southeast Branch. Social service specialists conducted 2 reentry prison visits and completed a total of 85 service referrals. One such referral involved a mother and her 5-year-old child who were without utilities or food. Social service immediately provided food assistance and contacted the apartment to address the utilities. They also found out the child had been enrolled in an early childhood learning center but had not been attending. Social services contacted the center, and within 1 hour, they scheduled bus pickup and drop-off starting the next day. Social services also provided the child with school supplies, books, and winter clothing. Our school resource officers at Southeast High School wanted to do something creative to celebrate Black History Month with the students. During the entire month of February, they checked out books, collected videos, and helped students research their favorite African-American heroes. The students then created static displays dressed in clothes from the time period and gave presentations on their heroes. The school's African culture dance and drum coach also had our students perform a traditional song on djembe drums during the event. It was an educational and enriching experience for all ages. The Police Athletic League had a total of 538 visits for the month with an average of 52 visits each day. They also had 23 new enrollments. Highlights for the month included the following. A PAL athlete competed at a boxing event in Kansas City, Kansas. The PAL Girl Scout troop set up a booth at the PAL Center and sold Girl Scout cookies. And the 8 and under basketball team secured their first win of the basketball season. PAL also continued its tutoring program, which consists of small group learning labs, study halls, and one-on-one tutoring opportunities. Moving on to the median response times. The median response time for Priority 1 calls during the month of February was 8 minutes and 34 seconds. That's an 8-second increase compared to January. And the median response time for Priority 2 calls was 10 minutes and 26 seconds, a 3-second increase compared to January. Traffic division. There were 1,301 traffic accidents citywide in February. That's an 8.7% decrease compared to the previous month, but a slight increase compared to February 2024. There were 3 fatal crashes with a total of 4 victims during the reporting period. It's the same number of fatal crashes and victims as January. So year-to-date, there have been 6 fatal crashes and 8 victims, a 65% decrease in the number of fatal crashes compared to the same period in 2024. Of the crashes in February, 1 was a hit and run and has been cleared, and the 2 other fatal crashes were exceptionally cleared with the death of the offender. 4 fatal crashes from previous months were also cleared during the reporting period. The DUI section conducted 5 Wolfpack operations in February with a combined total of 80 traffic stops. They issued 87 tickets and made 27 DUI arrests. There were also an additional 87 DUI arrests not associated with Wolfpacks during the month, bringing the department total to 114. If we look at traffic enforcement as a whole, the department issued just under 5,200 traffic tickets during February, a 21% increase compared to January. And you may recall we had a significant increase in the number of tickets issued in January 2025 compared to December 2024. Lastly, I would like to mention on February 25th, the Traffic Enforcement Unit conducted an expired license plate and temp tag enforcement operation in the Northland. They conducted 181 stops and issued 160 citations or written warnings for expired license plates or temp tag violations. They also confiscated 28 sets of license plates or temp tags. And that concludes my report. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
Maybe just to follow up, the board did receive an email from a citizen regarding the temp tags, and so it's great that you ended your report on the initiative there. My question is, and I recall this, we conduct those throughout the year. That's not just an isolated event, but as I recall in your prior reports, throughout the year we'll have other efforts in that regard.
Correct. Last year.
Temp tags.
Yep. Last year we had several different enforcement operations, but specifically we had 3 that were dedicated to temp tags. I believe we had over 800 citations issued, and we reached out to that individual who sent the email and updated him as well.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
Is there a way to get information from the State Department of Motor Vehicles as to cars that have been transferred and no license plates have been issued?
I can check with my traffic unit and get a response back to you on that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I have a comment. Commander, I had the pleasure of being out at Central Division this morning for roll call and just I know all of the divisions have phenomenal majors, but met Major Foreman, the team, met 2 POs who were on the force for 1.5 years. They had been in the academy together and they were working together, and it was a great experience because it gave me an opportunity to really kind of hear the sergeant kind of relaying down the things to watch out for, not just training, but situations in the community. So I just wanted to share that with you and enjoyed that opportunity and look forward to more.
Thank you. And we offer the opportunity for any of the commissioners at any time to go to roll calls, do ride-alongs. Any way we can help support you and contact you with our officers is a good thing.
Thank you for doing it.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
They love it as well,
my
and they love
pleasure.
us, getting to know us. And I know when I went out and talked to some of the new officers, they were like, "What are you?" So as they get tenure, they figure out who we are. But it's nice just to get out there and say hello.
And they make a specific point to mention they appreciate when you come out, especially on operations or street racing operations are very enlightening. So next one we have, we'll make sure to let you know.
Yes,
Please,
yes, thank you.
yes.
We
I look forward
appreciate
to
that.
more.
Yeah. Okay, Administration Bureau, Deputy Chief Ortiz. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Today, I will provide you with updates on staffing, recruitment, and our police academy. You can find all relevant details under tab D in your books. First, staffing updates. As of February 28th, we had 1,106 law enforcement officers. We had 52 police officer candidates in the police academy, and we had 531 professional staff members. Currently, we have 55 police officer candidates in the hiring process, with 16 of them having pending job offers and 4 candidates confirmed for the 185th Academy class set to begin on May 5th. We're also processing 19 lateral candidates. 3 of them will start the police academy on March 24th. Our communications unit is also seeing some progress. We have 18 candidates in different stages of the hiring process, with 2 candidates having pending job offers and 2 new call takers who will start on March 26. Moving on to our recruitment efforts. Recruitment remains our #1 priority in the Administration Bureau. We're making steady progress thanks to the dedication and innovative work of our recruitment unit. We're attracting new talent through our expanded outreach, targeting high schools, vocational schools, colleges, and community events, ensuring we identified and onboard quality candidates efficiently. A great example of innovative outreach is our recent participation in the Western Farm Show, which drew over 2,000 students from Kansas and Missouri. This was a great opportunity to connect with a new demographic of hopefully future members of our police department. We're also conducting regular law enforcement testing at the Regional Police Academy. For example, just last week on March 15th, we had 43 candidates who completed the written and physical agility test out of 59 who signed up. These candidates are now going to be moving on to the next hiring phase. Moving on to our academy activities. 2 weeks ago, our academy hosted a personal safety and self-defense seminar with 178 registration and 95 attendees. This free 4-hour training provided participants with essential self-defense skills and situational awareness techniques. And because of its success, we have scheduled 4 additional seminars, including one in South Patrol Division, and we're looking forward to seeing more of them. Our Citizen Police Academy is also underway with 17 participants in this 10-week program. This initiative provides a general look at police operations, fostering stronger community relationships, and a deeper understanding of law enforcement challenges. The next Citizen Academy will take place from September 2nd through November 18th. And thank you, Angela McCune, for making this program a valuable experience for all participants. I encourage anyone interested to please call Angela at 816-234-3505 and begin the registration process. In conclusion, at KCPD, we remain committed to recruitment, engaging our community, and the well-being of our members. While challenges still persist across the nation, we continue to innovate, engage, and adapt to attract top talent and strengthen our department. I encourage all of you to help spread the word about our hiring efforts. And for more information, please visit kcpd.org/careers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Ortiz, and great job. It seems like our laterals are really moving up each month too, so that's really exciting, and I think that says a lot for KCPD. The word is getting out. Chief, you're doing a great job, and I think that just speaks volumes, so I'm really happy to see that as well.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Deputy Chief, do we have a sense yet of how large the 185th class will be, or is it too soon?
As large as we can possibly have it.
He's gun shy of giving numbers.
Yes. Yes,
Goal for, I would love to have 50.
That would be amazing.
Just a quick comment in support of that. I commend you all. One of the things I learned this morning when I was out at Centra was we have people who want to be in the academy, but they're sort of out of cycle. And it hasn't, they want to be employees, they want to go to the academy, but that starts in May. But we hire them and put them in civilian opportunities in the PD so they can get accustomed to the culture and learn, and then they can be ready to go right into the academy. I think that's phenomenal. It's a good practice.
Thank you.
And one last thing, will you send us out those dates for that women's safety seminar? Because I know a lot of people that would love to go to that. I think that's
Absolutely.
huge, so, and I'm glad it's really successful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Executive Service Bureau, and we don't have Deputy Chief McCollum today. He's at the City Council meeting for the budget. So, yes.
Major Scott Simons filling in for him today.
Yes.
So.
I didn't recognize you with the beard there, so good to
Yes.
see you.
Thank you. All items for Executive Services Bureau are located under tab E of your. Item A is budget transfers for the fiscal year 24-25. I request the following appropriations be transferred within the General Fund, Health Levy Fund, and Police Grants Fund. The General Fund transfer moves $1,218,500 within the Personal Services, $20,000 within Contractual Services, $40,000 within Commodities. The Health Levy Fund transfer moves $140 from Personal Services to Contractual Services. And the Police Grant Fund transfer moves $25,000 from the Personal Services and $100 from the capital outlay, totaling $25,100 to Contractual Services. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Any
Move to
questions?
approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Item B, adjustment to the special revenue accounts for fiscal year 24-25. I request that $525,000 be appropriated from the unappropriated fund balance of the liability self-retention fund for personal matters. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
I move approval.
Second, but just a clarification, you said 525,000, the materials say 725.
725,000, my apologies.
I think that's what your motion is for 725.
Correction noted. Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's approved.
Item C, adjustment to special revenue accounts for fiscal year 24-25. Last year, the department contracted with third-party vendor to manage the private alarm services. Therefore, $350,000 is requested to be appropriated from the Special Services Fund's unappropriated fund balance to to fund this program. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Any questions?
Move approval.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion's approved.
I would note on that, just because I just paid my annual $20, it's to the Cry Wolf Services. Is that the third-party vendor we're using? So,
Correct.
yeah, I had to check with my alarm company to make sure that it was a legitimate invoice. So I think just making sure we're communicating that.
It's a little bit confusing because more of the company's out of it. We've been trying to get as much information out to the public, letting them know that Cry Wolf is the third-party vendor we're using for all of our alarm services now.
I can tell you, it was seamless. I went online and did it, and so that was
Good.
Pay my bill. Thanks.
Item D, adjustments to the special revenue accounts for fiscal year 24-25. I request your approval to increase current year appropriations in the Federal Seizure and Forfeiture Fund to pay the Motorola CAD standard maintenance and Motorola upgrade services. Therefore, it is requested that $75,000 be appropriated from the unappropriated fund balance of the Federal Seizure and Forfeiture Fund. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion's approved. Thank you. That was easy.
Thank you, yes.
Okay. Chief's Office of Executive Officer, Deputy Chief Young.
Morning, thank you.
Morning.
Under tab F, you will find the internally recorded digital media records and use of department and private vehicles policies for your approval. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, and otherwise, I recommend approval.
Any questions?
I have one question, just a clarification. So we pulled out the training personnel memorandum, and there was some in your summary. Is that handled separately outside of the policy? Oh, this is on the body-worn cameras, sorry.
Yeah, probably. So if, throughout the summary and on the original kickoff memo, our internally digitally recorded, well, not even digital to begin with, has been quite an evolution. Our in-car cameras started off with a VCR in the trunk, and as you can imagine, we've come a very long way from that. But as we've progressed, we usually just made a habit of plugging holes with department memorandums and things like that. So the intent of this policy was to finally kind of bring them all together into one policy. Does that answer your question?
Well, partway. So the training element, though, is still, I didn't see it carried over into the policy, but that's still occurring at the academy and throughout in the normal course? Or maybe I missed it.
So my assumption would be that that's handled on break-in and in the academy. I think they, stress utilizing your cameras when they're doing situationals and pies and real-life training in the academy. So it's incorporated that way.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion's approved.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Office of General Counsel, Nathan.
Good morning, Commissioners. My report's going to be in closed session.
Okay. And I know, Merrill, you said no report this morning, right? Okay. Public comments.
Yes, the first one is Rachel Thomas. No Rachel Thomas. Okay, how about BJ Kidd? Ron Hunt, I guess you're up.
And Ron, that doesn't mean you get 6 minutes. 2.
I'm getting a little good at it. Hey, good morning to the board
Good morning.
president, board members, and chief and her staff. Yeah, the chief is doing a great job. She's doing a great job. I just want to say I support my men and women in blue. I ran over to City Hall, and I joined the other major that was over there, and I made public testimony, and I said, hey, I want all that money to go to the police department because we need 63rd, not 63rd, Linwood and Prospect. And the mayor kind of presented it. And so I just want y'all to know I stood up and I spoke on your behalf because I'm so proud of all of you guys. Nehemiah, that number, that 94%, was that included in what you and I talked about? That's the one that has it. It has or has it? All right, I'm depending on you. I'm depending on you and your guys, but I didn't want to say too much. I'm just proud of the police department. You got a great board up there, and just keep doing the good work. I think you said we had 3 homicides in March in Metro. I'd like to see more presence in Metro where I live at. Because those guys are still out there on the streets, and I'm depending on you, Maven, okay? I'm depending on you to get those guys. But other than that, I just want y'all to know that I spoke up at the city house so you get more tax money, because you do a good job. I appreciate you, Chief. Ms. Kramer, I appreciate you, everybody, Madeline, Tom, everybody on the board. Doing a great job. This is the best board I ever had. We ever had, because they let me sit up here and talk, and I got off just in time. Thank you. I appreciate y'all, I really do, I really do.
Thank you, Ron. We appreciate you and all your help in the community. That makes a difference, and we just want to let you know that we appreciate it and we see it as well. Okay. Anybody else for?
No, that's
Nope,
it.
that was it, okay. Approval of open session minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Mr. Kenner?
I have nothing at
comment?
this time.
And the mayor's not with us today. Commissioner Romius?
I have nothing to add.
Commissioner Whitaker?
Yeah, maybe in the spirit of feedback, just like we had a little bit of discussion with the prosecutor this morning. I was at a couple of major events over the last week, and I just want to commend this department and how well the officers represented themselves and how well those large events went off in a safe order. One is the Casey Current game, lots of people, lots of activities, the home opener, so it drew a big crowd, and then yesterday's parade. So I know a lot of effort goes into that, and I don't want it to be lost on anyone, how much planning and intention goes into making sure everyone is safe at those large events. So just an observation. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. And I just wanted to make a quick comment because I know I've had a lot of people approach me and ask about the public safety sales tax. And it's coming up, and we just wanted to be transparent on, jail is very important to us, and that is on there, along with Central Patrol and new cars. So there's a lot of things that covers, and we just, want transparency on that and to let everybody know that we appreciate the community's support with the Police Foundation and with everything, and it does make a big difference, and it helps keep our city safe. So, Chief, anything? Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank you guys for everything that you do every day, keeping us safe. We really appreciate you, and just want to say thank you. Okay.
Go into closed session?
Yep. So motion to go into closed?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Whitaker, aye.
Romius, aye.
Kramer, aye.